How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
First of all, I want to say you look just like Kirk in that clip. I haven't seen your show yet because I haven't had a chance to.
I hope you will.
Yeah, and I thought he brought up that subject because that's the reason I wanted to come to the panel because I thought you were so cool.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you.
My question is, since you're a huge science fiction fan and you work in voice acting for Japanese animation, is there any science fiction role in Japanese animation you want to play?
You know, when I was a little boy, right about the same time as I was making Star Trek movies, I was watching Speed Racer, and I didn't know it was anime. I knew it was weird. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't look like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't sound like Scooby-Doo. It was different, and I didn't even know why, but I thought it was really cool. And my friend and I used to run around imitating characters from Speed Racer. Who knew that 30 years later I would be voicing... I have to tell you a funny story. Can I tell you a funny story? About 6 years ago, I was nominated for an award as Best Actor for Full Metal Alchemist, which is a show, an anime series that I played a character in. And there was an event called the American Anime Awards. Kind of like the Academy Awards for anime. And I was nominated, and me and 5 other guys were nominated, and the award ceremony was in New York City. So I flew to New York City, and we're in a theater much like this. It was all televised, you know, like the Oscars. They had the podium with all the statues. And I was sitting, I don't know, about 5 rows back in the middle, and I went in to find my seat with my ticket, and I sat down beside this elderly gentleman that was sitting beside me.
Peter Fernandez?
You just blew my story.
Sorry.
You just blew my story. See, now, it's okay, though. So I sit down beside this elderly gentleman. I'm just going to cut to the chase here. And I didn't know who he was. Just another guy, right? And we're chatting, having a great time. And then they gave the Lifetime Achievement Award. And they started talking about this man's credits in anime and voice acting, and he was the voice of Speed Racer. And here I am sitting there going, oh my God, the voice of Speed Racer's here? I love Speed Racer. And they call his name, and Peter's sitting beside me. And he gets up and goes and gets his award, and I was like... And he comes back and he shows me his statue. And here's my favorite part. Then they announced Best Actor, and I won. And I went up and got my statue, and came back and sat down and showed him my statue. Now, do you see the incredible full circleness of that? That 30 years earlier, I was pretending, doing voices with Wayne, my friend Wayne, of Pops Racer, and Spritle, and Chim Chim, and Speed, and Racer X, with no clue that 30 years later, I would be sitting in a theater with the voice of Speed as a fellow voice actor and getting an award along at the same time. I mean, God has been way too good to me. I have had way too many blessings in my life, and I'm very, very grateful. I appreciate that. I would love to play something in Speed Racer, actually, just for the nostalgia of it, just to get to do it. Thank you. Thank you for your question. Hello.
First of all, thank you for sharing your childhood videos with us.
Oh, thank you. They're horrid, aren't they?
No, they were great. Thank you for that. And now to my question, it's kind of a two-part question because I'm a huge fan of your voice acting work.
Thank you.
So my first question is, some of the scenes in animes are quite outrageous. So
yes,
how often do you need to repeat the takes until you get the lines straight?
As few as possible, believe me. I'll tell you something else funny. Speaking of Full Metal Alchemist, my character in Full Metal Alchemist is named Edward Elric. He is the Full Metal Alchemist. And he's a 14, 15-year-old kid, but he's very short for his age. And he's constantly teased about it. And more than being teased, he's very self-conscious about it. So if somebody says, hey, who's that little kid over there? He freaks out. And he's like, why are you calling me blah, blah, blah? And the guy's like, well, all I said was, who's the little kid? I didn't say pipsqueak, midget, pint-sized shrimp. And he's so, overly insecure about his size. So he yells all the time and screams about being called short. I don't like to yell. Except at Christian protesters. But I don't like to yell. So whenever we would do a scene where he had to yell, we would always save it to the very end of the recording session, because I didn't want to do it until I absolutely had to. And even then, I would say to the engineer, okay, turn the recording level down, make sure we don't mess it up, because I yell really loud. And I don't want to do it one time and, have the recording level go, and like, oh, we ruined the whole take, you have to do it again. So we try to make everything just right. And I'll back away from the mic a little bit. And I'll do it. I'll watch the take a couple of times to make sure I have the timing right. Because I don't want to do it and then have them go, oh, you need to do it a little longer. Or, oh, it's a little shorter. Oh, there's a pause in the middle. So you just want to do it one time. So I do my best to try to make everything perfect so that I don't have to do it more than once or twice. I also played a character named Broly, who is the legendary Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball Z. Now, if any of you know anything about Dragon Ball Z, it's all yelling all the time. Fighting, battles, fighting. That's all it is. There's a famous, and they do it forever, right? One battle, forever. There's a funny joke about Dragon Ball Z. How many Dragon Ball Z characters does it take to screw in a light bulb? It only takes 2, but it takes 35 episodes. That's Dragon Ball Z. So we try to avoid yelling as much as possible. Hey, let's watch another vignette. Can we watch another vignette? I haven't seen them in so long, and some of you haven't seen them at all, right? Can you, Eric? Can you go back to that page where the vignettes were? Okay, let me show you. This is the first one we did. I'm excited about this one. The very Turnabout Intruder, vignette 1, down at the bottom right. Okay, let me tell you about this one before we play it. You guys remember the last episode with Dr. Lester? Turnabout Intruder. Who tried, remember, she exchanged consciousness with Kirk so that she could take over his place as captain of the Enterprise, right? And at the very end, she wasn't able to hold on to the transference, and they changed back, and she breaks down, right? And Dr. Coleman, her friend who loved her and was taking care of her, leads her away, and Kirk says, her life could have been as full as anyone else's, if only. And he turns around and they walk into the turbo lift, and that was the last you ever saw of the original series of Star Trek. So I thought, okay, the whole point of Star Trek Continues is that Star Trek continues. So let's recreate the first thing we ever shot. Let's recreate that moment, shot for shot, line for line, until they step into the turbo lift, and it doesn't end. Go ahead, Eric.
You are as I loved you. Can you do anything for her? I'd like to take care of her. Of course. Come with me. I'm sure we all understand that, Captain. Her life could have been as rich as any woman's. If only... If only...
She must have really loved you once, sir.
Well, if it was ever really that. Turned to vengeance and anger a long time ago.
Like they say, it's a thin line between love and hate.
Very thin. I never cease to be struck by what passion and emotions drive humans to, what they cause you to become.